it sucked, you know. It was like, you know, my life was just starting, and I had, you know, I was pregnant with my second right before he was born was when I was diagnosed. And, you know, I'm thinking we're just going to complete our family and we're going to, you know, have this great life, and shot to the gut. I was about 30 weeks pregnant, and I had like a cold pretty much. I was very mucousy. I was coughing a lot. And at one point I noticed that I was coughing up a little bit of blood. You know, my cough just lingered and lingered. So I had my CT scan, and I was there on Friday night, and they told me that I had cancer. And they thought it was like a pregnancy cancer. They didn't know. They didn't even give me a biopsy at that point. They had just said from the CT scan and that it was metastatic. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what, you know, it was like all this inflow of information. And then, you know, they admitted me, and then all these doctors were, you know, coming in. They're like, it's not cancer. I don't know why they told you it's cancer. And I'm like, oh, phew, okay, what is it then? Because they're all coming in and they think I have tuberculosis or this or that and some sort of infection. And, you know, I was just in the hospital for a few days. They finally did a biopsy and they sent me home. And that Monday morning, or what I think it was a Monday, I met with the pulmonologist, and that's when he told me that I had lung cancer. So I had to, at that point, you know, I just had to first come to the realization of the cancer diagnosis. I had to, you know, it was probably a few days of curling up into a ball. And then, you know, tumor testing, second opinions, and, you know, high-risk pregnancy doctors, and the whole, like, rigmarole of everything was just like a blur. But they ended up inducing at 33 weeks, and I had little Bill, and he was perfectly healthy. He had to be in the NICU for a few weeks, but he was good. He was 5 pounds. You know, it was like everything about, like, you know, you think you're going to just die right away, pretty much. You have no idea of what's going to happen. You don't have, you know, the worst things in the world that when you grow up is cancer, you know? So I started the chemo, and I did really well with that. It shrunk my tumors a ton. So I only had tumors in both lungs. It didn't at that point go anywhere else, but I had multiple tumors, and they were fairly large, like 9 centimeters, and pretty much in both lungs. So the chemo shrunk the tumors a lot. It was a really good response, and I was able to stay on a maintenance for like almost 2 years, I think. So, and then once I started showing a little bit of progression, I started looking into clinical trials. I feel like the first year, it was like going through the motions, doing the chemo, you know, thinking I was going to die, you know. And once like that year hit, I was like, okay, I'm still here. Things are okay right now. You know, by a year, I had met plenty of people, and, you know, I knew it was possible to live past the 9-month mark. I think was the mark when I was diagnosed of like the typical death time. And I was like, okay, well, I passed that initial, you know, year mark, and I'm not frozen anymore. Let me start seeing, you know, what kind of research is out there. You know, I wasn't able to get any like next generation sequencing, because there just was never enough tumor cells. They were only able to like test specifically for each mutation, and then that was it. and I was at Dana-Farber, and I was really interested in like a vaccine trial, and I really tried hard to get there. You know, every biopsy I had, it was like not enough cancer cells in the biopsy, and I've just been able to live fairly normally this whole time, you know, apart from having to go away for my appointments and just the really random side effects that aren't that bad, really. I've just tried to just live normally as I have been able to. And I don't think the kids know any different. You know, it's been good. 6 years later, I'm still here.